Okay, we're going to be doing a good thorough review with everything you could possibly need to know. Haha. This may have to be split into two pieces depending on how much time it ends up taking. If so, then I'll split it up between 7 and 8, I think. Maybe. Okay, so first, I have spread things out a little bit so that you can, so that I can write the explanations a little better. Starting at this one, if you have an 8 for max and a midline of -2, we can find the min, which is, if this is between 8 and -2, remember you have to go through 0. This is actually 10. So going down 10 more, it's -12. The numbers we need are the distance between the midline and the top is the amplitude. For those of you who are not remembering this, it's A, sine or cosine, B, extra parentheses, x minus, so phase shift is the new thing, plus D, and D is the midline. So next thing we need to know is B and the phase shift. Okay, and which one we want to use, sine or cosine. So the B is 2 pi over the period. Just for your information, you'll want to switch from radians to degrees about midway through the test. So just be aware, if you just use 2 pi, it's safe up until the Unit 8 stuff when they start talking about degrees. So 2 pi over the period is going to be 2 pi over 6 pi, since it says what the period is. And then C, the phase shift, be aware that max is, if they give you a max value, it's use cosine. Oops, sorry. So if it gives you a maximum value, use cosine, and that is the phase shift. So it's going to be, again, the amplitude is A. The period was 6 pi, but we figured out the B was 1/3. The phase shift is this stuff. X minus -1 is x plus 1, so it's opposite. And then D was -2, so I'll just write -2. Okay, next. At 2, the graph is decreasing and passes through the midline. So if you're at the midline, you use sine. And if you're decreasing, you want to use negative sign. I'll write in minus. Amplitude, again, we need to, if you draw out the midline at 1, midline, and then min is -3, that distance is 4, so this is going to go up to 5. Okay, so at x equals 2, that's my phase shift. So the amplitude is 4, but we're going to use a negative. Now I need to figure out the period. So at 6, it's at a minimum. So just be aware, if you look at a graph, midline to minimum is a fourth of the period. So if this is x equals 2, and this is x equals 6, then my period is 4 times that much. So the period is, let's see, 2 to 6 is 4, so, but that's not what goes in for b. Remember, b is 2 pi over the period. Okay. Remember, we have the phase shift at x equals 2. And the midline is at 1. Next. Okay. This is going to be right pi over 4. So since it's cosine and it's negative, it's minimum. All right, so what have we got? We've got negative 3 cosine blah, 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 minus 1. This tells you the midline is at negative 1. That was too many dashes. That the amplitude is 3. So negative 1 up 3 is up to 2. And down 3 is to negative 4. Okay, so we'll go down to 1, 2, 3, 4. And the midline is at negative 1. And then we go up 3 from that, up to 2. Okay, those are my little guidelines. Again, negative cosine gives you a minimum point. So right pi over 4 down to the minimum height. Midline point, so negative pi over 4. I'm going to graph these with pi over 2, pi over 1, 3 pi over 2, and pi. So that means the bigger hash marks are at 1/4 of the period, at the phase shift, right pi over 4, and I'm at the minimum point. The next minimum point is going to be 2 pi over from that. If b is 1, then the period is 2 pi over 1. So I'll count out, let's see, 2 pi is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little hash marks. So pi over 4 away. Halfway in between that, we get a max. So maximum point would be at, let's see, 5. You can do this on the unit circle because you've got halfway between pi and 3 pi over 2 is 5 pi over 4. And the max is at height 2. Make sure you put the max, the heights at the second coordinate. Midline point is in between. And again, a fourth of the period, you get to go from min to midline to max to midline to min. So every 2 hash marks, you're going from, or 2 big hash marks, you're going there. So let's see, how far over is that? That's going to be 3 pi over 4. And the height at the midline is -1. Okay. Next, let's look at this one. At least 3 points for this. Okay, so I want to figure out, okay, so this is, it's a positive sign, so in the middle, going up at left 5. So at left 5, let's see, we're in the middle of going up. So we have, let's see, 2 sine thingy plus 3. The midline is at 3. And you go up to the amplitude up. So up to 5 and down to 1. So up to 5, midline of 3, minimum at 1, and it's in the midline going up left 5. So left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be a midline point at an x coordinate of -5 and a y coordinate of the height at the midline is 3. Okay, so you need the period to get other points easily. So let's just say B is, remember, the number in front of the extra parentheses. Pi's cancel, 2 times 5 is 10. All right, so the period is 10. So in 10 units, so this is from -5, 10 units to the right of that is at +5. I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm in the middle of going up. Halfway in between, I should be in the middle of going down again. Unlike cosine, which does a max, min, max thing, sine does a min, 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 and the maxes are at the quarter periods. So half of that is -2.5. We'll have this is positive sine, we're going up. So this is going to be here. And at 2.5, I'm at the bottom. Okay, so a minimum point would be at 2.5, comma, height is 1. Maximum point, -2.5, comma, height is 5 at the max. Okay, how do you get other points? Well, notice this one is half a period. Midline points, they go half a period over. So 0, 3, and then 5, 3, and so forth. Minimum and maximum points, you go over an entire period. And the period is 10. So this should be 12.5, 1. Or if you want to subtract, -7.5, 1. Or you can do 22.5, 1, whatever. Maximum points also occur one period of a whole period apart. So you'll have, let's see, where's the next max? 10 away from -2.5 is +7.5. And then like 17.5, for instance. Do I need another? No, I've got 3 of each. Good. All right. C, I can write equations for the graph. Time isn't. I want to make sure that I don't run YouTube into not being able to make the video. Okay, so first off, we're in the middle of going down at 0. We're at the max at x equals negative pi. I want to figure out the period as well, and also the max and the min. So max is 4, midline is 0, min is negative. So this is going to be a plus 0. The amplitude is 4. The period is the distance from doing the same thing. So the period is from negative 2 pi to positive 2 pi. Which is 4 pi. Okay, so what do we need? We need A, we need D, we need B. Okay. So if you're in the middle of going down, that's negative sign. At 0. If you're at a max, that's cosine with a phase shift at negative pi. So if I write a sine curve, amplitude is 4 sine. In the middle of going down, so that's negative sine. 1/2. You can say x minus 0, or you can just say x. Doesn't really matter. And then of course, the plus zeros and the minus zeros don't do anything, so you don't really need those. For the cosine curve, you start with use the max. So let's just do that. So max is a positive cosine. Amplitude is the same. Oops, sorry. B is the same. The phase shift is at negative pi, so x minus negative pi is x plus pi. And there's still, again, plus 0. D is still 0. All right, let's write some sine and cosines for this. Min, negative cosine. Max, cosine. And this is the phase shift. And phase shift for negative cosine. We need to find the middle height. Again, these heights, notice they're counting by 2s, negative 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this is a height at 2. That's what the second coordinate does. So be careful with that. And then the min height is negative 14. So if I'm going from 2 down to negative 14, then the middle is halfway in between is the average. So let me just write that down. Okay, so the midline is negative 6. If I plot negative 6 here, then it's 4 hash marks, which is 8. And 4 hash marks down to get from the middle to the top or the bottom. So I'll have 8 for my A, negative 6 for my D. So what do I want? For cosine, I'll have a phase shift of 7. So I can say 8 cosine. Ooh, I need the period. The period is the horizontal distance between repeated things. Or we can say it's twice the horizontal distance between min and max. Let me write it that way. So that's from -3 to 7. So the period is 10. Oh, sorry, 20. And then let me just scribble this down here. B is 2 pi over the period. How many times have we said that? Okay, so pi over 10. And again, every variation, the only difference between the cosine curves and the sine curves is the phase shift. Everything else stays the same. The 8, the pi over 10. The other thing that might change is there might be a negative in front of the 8, but otherwise, everything is the same. So for max, it's phase shift of 7. And the midline was at -6. Okay. For the min, for negative cosine, it's at -3, so 8 negative cosine. Pi over 10. Let's see, x minus -3 is x plus 3. Okay, for sine, I need to be hitting the midline. So let me write that down. Okay, so if I'm at the midline going up, that's positive sine. Let's see, this is 10, this is 2. And then negative sine is at the midline going down. And that's 1 hash mark 2 units after 10, so that's 12. Okay. So 8 sine pi over 10, it's all the same except the phase shift. That's right 2. And negative sine at 12. There's others. It's just the picture that we have, those are the convenient numbers to use. Okay. Sinusoidal pattern almost too perfect. Oh, let me see. Let's see. Rough sketch over a 48-hour period. So, okay. So 3 a.m. to 3 p.m., it goes from a min to a max. So if I graph this, I'm going to, let's see, 48 hours is 2 periods worth. It's got a low temperature of 22 and a high temperature of 58. And 3 a.m., I think I'm going to count by threes. See, that's 1 day. Did I count out? Yes. Okay. And that's 2 periods. It's at a min, a low at 3 a.m. So, okie dokie. And then at 3 p.m., which is 12 hours later, it's at a max. Halfway in between, it'll be at the midline. Where is the midline? We'll need that for the equation. I wrote that on the next page. 40. Yeah. Okay. So back to the midline 6 hours later, back to the min 3 hours after the 24 hour. This is midnight again. Three hours after the 48 hours, it's back to the mid. So don't forget, don't make it pointy. Okay, whatever. So we've got, 58, 22, the middle is 40, which is A again. Let's see, min, okay, I can use negative cosine at x equals 3. I can use positive cosine at x equals 15. That's the phase shift. The period was, so min to max, the period is 24 hours. Don't forget B is not 24. B is 2 pi over the period. Okay, so what is the amplitude? 40 to 58 is, sorry, this is D, not A. Amplitude is 18. Okay, so we've got, let's see, 18 cosine negative if I want to use 3. And the midline was at 40. Or I could do was 3 p.m. is 15. Max is for positive cosine. Lovely. In degrees or radians, I would suggest just doing the entire first half of the test in radians so you don't have to convert back and forth because life is too short. Oh, high tide. Okay. So, again, let's just think of it this way. 2.97 is the middle. The amplitude, so the amplitude tells you how far up to go. So the max is midline plus amplitude. So it's 5.88 feet up at the top. Minimum, you subtract off the amplitude. So 2.97 minus 2.91. Okay, time between low and high tide. So the period is 2 pi over b. Keep, change, flip. What a horrible phrase that is. The pi's cancel, 2 over 4. 15 over 4, let's see, that's 30 over 4, which is 7.5. Okay, at 6 p.m. we plug in 18. 6 a.m. is T is 6. Why did I write 8? So if I just 2.91 sine 4 pi over 15 times 18. The program makes me crazy. You end up with 1.545 feet up. All right, low tide. One way to do this, the max and mins are 1 period apart. So you can graph and calc min, or you can say low tide is at 0.06 feet. So we'll set the equation equal to 0.06. How do we solve this? First, we get rid of the 2.97. Then we divide by 2.91. Okay, what is the arc sine of -1? So and the arc sine of -1 on your unit circle is 3 pi over 2. So I'm going to subtract 1.36 from it. Let me do that in blue. This problem is bug ugly if you just don't do calc min, but we can do it by hand. So you get 3.353 multiplied by 15 over 4 pi. Don't forget to put parentheses around the 4 pi, and you get, so t equals 4.001. That's one of the times. You can add half, the whole period. So that'll be another time when you have a min. Exactly 4 feet. Oh gosh. You can graph. If you want to don't avoid the other rigmarole, you can graph y1 as the first half of the curve, the left side of the equal sign. And graph y2 equals 4, and then do second trace intersect. And you should get some points. You get t is, among other things, you can get yeah. It's very painful if you have it written that way, but oh well. Okay, next, complete solution. What time is it? 8:30. Okay, so I've had half an hour with this. I'm going to keep going with the 3.7 stuff. First, solve. How do you solve? Get rid of adding and subtracting first. Okay, so we'll have I subtracted 3 from both sides. Now you'll divide by -2. Where are the 2 points? Where the sine, the height? Remember that sine is high coordinate. Only if the hypotenuse is 1. 2 values between 0 and 2 pi. So 2 values on the unit circle are pi over 6 and 5 pi over 6. Next, divide both sides by 6. Uh, 3 over 6 is 1/2, so we're looking for variations on 45 degrees. Cosine is negative in the second and third quadrant. So the second quadrant version of pi over 4, 45 degrees, is 3 pi over 4. And then the third quadrant version is 5 pi over 4. Yeah, all right. Tan theta is -1. Remember, sine and cosine are opposites at various versions of 45 degrees. We have 3 pi over 4 when sine is positive in √2/2 and cosine is negative √2/2. And then 7 pi over 4 when the opposite thing happens. Next, subtract off 3√3. A banana minus 3 bananas is -2 bananas. Don't we love that? Divide both sides by 4. Sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. Sine of pi over 3 is √3/2. These are the, sine is negative in the third and fourth quadrant. So the third and fourth quadrant of not pi over 6 but pi over 3 is 4 pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. Next, G. Okay, so the period is 2 pi. Okay, so we'll have -2 sine 1/4 of 2 pi is pi over 2. And the rest of it stays exactly the same. Sorry, left pi over 2. Period is 2 pi over pi over 4. So left for sine, right for cosine. So this is currently at 1. So I need to turn it from +1 to -1. And that should do it. You can also do it right 3/4 of the period. Okay, to turn sine into cosine, you'll just shift right 1/4 of the period. Remember, minus moves it right. Which we've been doing for 2 years now, ever since drawing a whole lot of parabolas doing that. Okay, and then this one, the period is 2 pi. This is left pi over 6. We want to move it right by 1/4 of the period. So pi over 6 minus pi over 2. What the heck is that? Common denominators. We have negative cosine, let's see, theta minus pi over 3. And that should work. Try it, graph it. Okay, 3.7k, which trig identity to use? Okay, so this is the unit, the second unit exam stuff. I'll say unit assessment. And I'll put it on a second video.